You've heard the term, the Great Replacement. It's a rhetorical grenade tossed into modern political debates. But what if we step back? Not just decades, but millennia. What if this isn't a new fear, but an ancient pattern? And what if, by looking at the ruins of history, we understand the brutal socio-economic engine driving it today? Let's be honest. Let's be harsh. Picture the Fertile Crescent, Sumer, Babylon, cradles of civilization. They gave us writing, astronomy, law, the wheel. They built ziggurats that scraped the heavens. They were not destroyed in a day by a grand army. They were hollowed out. The socio-economic recipe for their replacement was simple: a complacent, centralized elite, a disaffected urban underclass, and a hard, grinding frontier just beyond the irrigated fields. The Babylonian state became a bureaucratic machine, distant from its people. Productivity plateaued. The connection to the foundational knowledge, the why behind the manuscription, the celestial observations, became the domain of a pampered priestly caste, while the common citizen saw only taxes and ritual. Then came the pressure. Nomadic tribes from the eastern mountains and southern deserts. They weren't invading in a Hollywood sense. They were migrating, pushed by their own scarcities, pulled by the legendary wealth of the river valleys. They didn't overthrow the walls immediately. They first seeped in as mercenaries for Babylonian armies, as laborers, as refugees from harsher lands. The elite, seeing cheap labor and new soldiers, allowed it. It was economically expedient. The result? A slow, cultural and demographic dilution. The connection to Sumerian or Babylonian core knowledge frayed, then snapped. The newcomers had no deep generational stake in maintaining the intricate, fragile systems of law, astronomy, and literature. Why would they? They were survivalists. The civilization didn't fall. Its spirit was replaced. The great knowledge didn't vanish, but its living thread was cut. It became archaeology, not a living tradition. Now fast forward to our developed West. The socio-economic parallels are not subtle, they are glaring. We have our own complacent, neoliberal elite, disconnected from their national core, viewing citizens as economic units and borders as inefficiencies. We have our own hollowed-out populations, a working class stripped of meaningful economic purpose, atomized by consumerism, suffering a crisis of meaning of low birth rates. They've lost the living connection to their own civilizational foundations, the Enlightenment, the complex tapestry of their history, the shared myths that once built social trust. And there is a frontier, not of deserts, but of global inequality so vast it creates a demographic pressure unlike any in history. The neoliberal economic model requires perpetual growth. When native populations age and stop growing, the system demands new labor, new consumers, new debtors. This is not a conspiracy. It's a cold economic calculus. Mass immigration is the direct policy outcome. It supplies cheap labor, suppresses wages, inflates property markets for the asset-holding class, and creates a new, dependent political constituency. The replacement is not a plot to erase a people. It is the byproduct of an economic ideology that values fungible human capital over rooted citizens, that sees tradition and shared identity as barriers to the fluid movement of capital and labor. The brutal truth is this: a civilization that loses faith in its own future, that severs its people's connection to their past and purpose, that trades long-term cultural cohesion for short-term economic gain, does not get conquered. It signs a contract for its own gradual replacement. It invites the world in to fill the void it created, just as Babylon's gates were opened not by force, but by calculated elite self-interest. The lesson from the dust of Sumer is not about race. It's about vitality, meaning, and political will. A civilization that abandons its own socio-economic cohesion, its own reason for being, will be replaced. Always. It's the oldest story in the book, and we are now living in its latest, starkest chapter. Think on that. Until next time, with another episode from the Third Eye Podcast.